So I'm really excited for this session. When I joined, I was having a quick chat with Jade before, saying I know that I work for Adobe and I should know a lot of the Adobe products inside out. After Effects is one that I'm still learning, so I'm really happy to be joining this session today, which is creating audio-reactive visualizers using Adobe After Effects. And we've got the wonderful Jade that's our presenter today. And Jade is an Adobe Creative Educator and she's just got her leader status. That's really fantastic. Congratulations. And Jade is in the Media, Arts and Arts in Practice Subject Coordinator at Kelvin Grove State College, as well as a professional illustrator. So with over 15 years experience working with Adobe and a degree in new media arts, she now finds joy in teaching animation and motion graphics to students from years 10 to 12 and helping them bring their imagined ideas to life through movement. Thanks, Jade. I'll hand it over to you now.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for that introduction as well, Molly. I am going to show you guys today how to make audio reactive visualizers in Adobe After Effects. It is something that I do with my senior students at school in my position as Media Arts and Arts and Practice Subject Coordinator at Kelvin Grove State College. So I teach this as a subject. We do it as immersive environments and projection-based graphics. There's so many different ways that you can expand on it, but I'm going to start you guys with some of the basics. And then if you're really keen and eager with it, you can definitely take these techniques and explore. So I'll just start sharing my screen. Okay, so we are going to be creating audio reactive visualizers using Adobe After Effects, like I said. So what is an audio reactive visualizer? So essentially an audio reactive visualizer is some sort of motion graphic that you create that there are elements within it that the motion graphics react to the audio elements. So this can be really useful for doing things like stage graphics behind concerts or performers to make immersive environment artworks that are projection based, music videos, more ambient animations, etc. Oh, sorry, I didn't expect that to play automatically. So these are some of my student example works that I wanted to show you guys really quickly. This one was done by one of my year 11 students in Arts and Practice. I'm going to show you a few different ways that these audio reactive elements can be utilized within I suppose real life work, because it's interesting to see how you can apply these techniques, and there's many different ways that you can use these skills to get really cool effects. So here's one. The students did make the audio for these as well. That was the first half of the assessment unit for those of you that might be teachers. This was the first half of the assessment unit was to create the audio, and the second half was to create the visualizer element. So that was that one. This one is a little bit more animated. So the student did all the graphics for this one as well. But this one is inclusive of the waveforms as well as some hand-drawn animations and different elements as well. this one here has within it a few different elements. This was a very experimental piece for the student. Okay, this one here was film, where the student used audio-reactive elements on top of it as well. So this version here, this one was a soundscape that the student produced an audio piece for the most recent syllabus.
Days just, they went so slow. I was just waiting. And now, I'm so close to graduating, I still feel like I have no clue what I'm going to do. And it still feels like I have no idea what I'm doing with my life. And it just feels like I'm running out of time.
All right, so just really quickly, so they're just a few different examples of what we have used these same techniques for within the classroom to create different results with students. These techniques can be used in industry, they can be used for many different things. So I just wanted to show you a few different approaches to how they can be used. So the version that we're going to do at the moment is not going to be quite as complex because we've only got very limited time to do this one. But what we are going to be looking at is making a very basic dungeon. I've given you guys the source files. I will give you the link for those in just a second. But we're going to make a very basic wet dungeon in After Effects that teaches you how to make things react to the music and how to move in time with the music as well. I can also show you how to do the waveform later, but it's not included within this example as well. This version here, this is what we're going to make. We're going to make this. I sourced the audio from freesound.org. If you don't know about it, it's an amazing resource online for you to get different sound effects, bits of free music, and that when you are in a pinch, they're all royalty-free, Creative Commons, so that you can utilize those as well. I generated these images using Adobe Photoshop and the AI generation tools as well. So it just looks like this. there is a point in time where a figure will appear as well. I thought I would be able to skip through these videos, but I don't appear to be able to start and stop them and drag through the timer to show you the elements. But there is a figure that will appear very shortly as well. There we go, starting to sneak up on us so you can see. So it's just a very basic little horror dungeon, cold, wet vibe for you. So the way that this one has been created is using these 4 pictures that I generated in Photoshop. So you should have that link now. I think Molly's popped it in the chat for you. So in Photoshop, what I have done is I have put an image. I generated this wet dungeon. This one here, I enhanced the brightness to make it much brighter in the brightness and contrast settings. This one, I've made it much darker. I generated a dark, eerie figure, and then I mirrored that down to give it the shadow for on top of the water. I changed the opacity on that one, and I generated a very simple pendant light as well. So I'll just show you the Photoshop file really quick so you can have a look at that. So these, I've got the pendant light, I've got the dungeon that is bright here, this one. I've got the dark dungeon, and I have the dark, eerie, wet figure as well, which looks like so. When I was exporting them, I was just going to File and Export, because if you go File and Export, it actually saves your dimensions rather than exporting from the layers as well. So I've made those source files for you all. You should have a link to that one, so you can download those ones. We will have a chance to follow along afterwards as well. But what I've done is I've put all of those into a folder, and in After Effects, you're going to end up with a project looking something like this. So without any ado, the way that we start to do this is we go File, we go New Project, we go New Composition. 1920 by 1080 is the dimensions that I was working at, which is your full HD. You can call it whatever you want. I'm just going to call it Test 3. And it doesn't really matter what you set up there. So from your source folder, what you want to do is drag all of them in. So you've got 2 pieces of royalty-free audio, and you've got all of the other images as well. You don't need to drag the Photoshop file in, but if you drag the rest of your files into your After Effects project, they'll all just stack something like so. So your 2 audio tracks, what I like to do is put those 2 on the bottom so that they're the files that we're not actually going to end up touching too much. And then we've got the other figures as well, and the pendant light that will go on the top layers there. So the first thing that we need to do so that we can make any audio-reactive the first thing that we need to do to make any audio-reactive elements, is we cannot actually link anything to these MP3 files. So we need to make these something that we can link to the channels and manipulate. And the way that we do that is we right-click on the layer with the audio track in it itself, and you go to Keyframe Assistant. Under Keyframe Assistant, you go Convert Audio to Keyframes, and it will give you this red audio amplitude layer. I'm going to rename that one because I've got 2 audio tracks in here. So I'm going to name that one the main track, and then I'm going to rename, do the same thing to this one and rename this one to be the storm track. So I'm just right-clicking on it and renaming to storm. And so I've got these 2 audio tracks that have come up as red lines on the top. Under these, when we click on the little drop down to the left of the new tracks that we've made, we've got under the effects drop down, left, right, and both channels. Now, these are the most important things when you're making an audio reactive visualizer. If you have an audio track or you've made a soundscape first, like my students have, They have been taught to link it to the left channel, the right channel, or both channels in order to separate elements of their audio so that we can animate things more effectively within After Effects. But when you click on the drop downs, you bring up these things called sliders. Now, this is where all of the magic happens and where we link everything when we are making audio reactive elements. So before we do anything else, I don't want my figure that I've got in here to be here the whole time. So just very quickly, I'm going to shrink the figure down and place it at a random point in time in my track. I'm also going to just make sure that I've trimmed my audio elements down so that everything is aligned with one another, so that everything's starting and finishing at roughly the same time. Doesn't have to be perfect. But we're just going to make those ones slightly shorter so that everything, if we export it, finishes at the same time as the audio. Great. Okay, so we've got all of these images in. We've got our figure, we've got our pendant light, we've got our audio. Now what we want to do is we want to make the whole image start to actually flicker in time with the lightning of the storm. So what I like to do is under the bright dungeon image that we've dragged in, under the transform, we're going to make the opacity what is reacting to the audio track. So the way that we make this react to the music or the audio rather than do manual keyframe animation is we're actually going to hit at the start of this track the little stopwatch. That means that this can change over time. It's put a keyframe at the very start of my track now, but it means that it can change over time. What I will do then is I'm going to use the pick whip tool and I'm going to drag upwards and I'm going to put this onto both sliders of my Storm audio track. So what that has done is that has linked and put in this manual, this automatic code, I should say. That means that I have now got the lighting of this entire image reacting in time with the storm. So that flickers through in time with the audio. I am aware there might be just a little bit of lag, but I hope you can trust that that is now reacting in time with the audio track, and it's flickering, making the room look like it's getting lit up with lightning. So that's your very first audio reactive element, but we can take this even further than that. What we can do is we can also make sure that this pendant light that we've got here that I've put in, we want that one to start swinging in time with that audio as well. So using the same, storm sliders that we've got there under the audio amplitude layer, but on the right slider this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pendant light that I've created and I'm going to double click on it. And I want this one to rotate slightly. So I'm going to drag the actual anchor point of this one to the very top where it would be attached to the roof. And then I'm going to close that. And now my pendant light is going to move from that anchor point. So I'm going to put that one slightly up above offstage. And that one is going to be something that we're going to make swing. At the moment, it looks a bit bright for the scene. So I'm not going to make the opacity on this one react to the audio, but I do want it generally to be a little bit darker. So I'm just going to take the opacity down to about 50 to start with by clicking on the transform under the pendant light, clicking on opacity and just making it 50%. So that makes it a little bit darker to start with so that it's blending in with that scene. But we're going to make this rotate in time with that thunder and lightning now too, to make it out that maybe there's a bit of wind with the rain that is causing this this light bulb, to swing. So I'm going to do the same thing I did before, but I'm going to hit the stopwatch on rotation this time under the transform. And we're going to drag that little pick whip that we've got all the way back up to the top and back onto the right slider. Now, if I just press play on this one, it's kind of moving a little bit more than I would like it to. It's a bit too intense. So that line of code that I showed you before under the drop down here, if anyone knows any real basic Excel coding or just basic coding in general, there's a few different things that you can do. For example, if we wanted this to be way more intense, we could times this by 10. Now, if I times it by 10, it is so intense that it's swinging into the ceiling. That's not what we want. What we can do is we can change the angle by making things minus. And now it's going to swing slightly further to the other direction. You can change that to whatever number, or you can divide it by 10. And this is what I like because it actually means that it's not reacting as much as it would have previously. So now it's giving it that real subtle kind of swing that we wanted before. That was in the example that I gave you. So now we have two audio reactive elements in there. We've got a swinging light bulb and we've got the flickering lights. So it's already starting to get kind of ambient and moody, I guess. But we can take this even further. If you remember, I have put the figure to start appearing here. Now, we don't want the figure to just appear though, out of nowhere, and just suddenly appear like that. We do want that figure to kind of be something that you don't notice until you do, like a proper horror movie. So under the dark figure layer, what I am going to do is I'm going to do the same thing I did before with the opacity, but I'm not going to actually make this one react to the music either. I'm going to hit the stopwatch so that we can change it over time, and I'm going to start it at 0. And then I'm going to move my slider, my time ruler, over further, and I'm going to change it to 100, and it's going to put that second keyframe in there for me. I want it to appear there for a while, so I'm going to put another one at 100 in there. So I'm just going to slide it again so it hits 100, and then right at the end of where it appears, we're going to drag it back down to 0. So what will happen now is that over this time, it's going to start to fade into the background. It'll stay there for a while, and then it's going to start to slowly disappear again so that it's not visible. So we've got this scene that has 3 different elements within it now. It's got a swinging pendulum light, it's got the figure that is appearing, and it's got the flickering lights. The other element that I have included, which is not audio reactive, but something that I think is really cool to really set this wet, dark, gloomy scene, is I actually put rain in. So this is one that kids love. They love messing with it. So I'll show you guys how to do it as well. If you already know, awesome, love that. But I'll show you guys how to do that one as well. So we need to go to layer first for this part of it, and we need to go to new solid layer. So layer, new solid, doesn't matter what color you make it, and it's put in this new layer, another red layer that is the black solid layer. Okay, so from there we need to go up to effect, we need to go to simulate, and we're going to hit rainfall, and it brings up your new menu under effect controls over here. And if we untick composite with original, it's going to start raining. So now I've got this rain that is actually included within my track, within my composition. You can make it so that there's heaps more rain. If you want it to rain really heavily, you can make it so that there's less. You can change the wind so that it's blowing in different directions. If you want it to move in a certain way at different points in time, it can go sideways. It can go, straight up and down. It's just generates your rain for you, which is a really cool effect to include, I think. Well, yeah. There we go. Back to normal now. So it's got some rain in there as well now. So I don't know how long I've been talking, in about 10 minutes, we have pretty much just recreated that scene that I just showed you guys. So there's a few tiny little tricks that you can use, and you can do this with literally anything at all. You can make the size grow. You can change the position. You can change the opacity. One that I really like to use is the lighting one, because it's really effective, but also you can change the opacity in tracks like the one that I showed you from Zave with the heavy breathing. If you're doing something like a soundscape that's representing an anxiety attack like that, as you get that heavy breathing, you can make things grow and shrink and opacity change as you do that to really create that effect that you might be trying to deliver to your audience. So that's the very basic, simple parts of it. Now, to make a waveform, a waveform is really simple as well. So we do the same thing that we did before, where we go layer, new, and we make yet another solid layer. Doesn't matter what it is. You can then go and draw a shape if you wanted to even. Let's say that I'm going to draw a circle. Oh, that's not a circle. That is definitely a square. But if it's loading. If I go, come on, select. Oh, sorry, I didn't draw a new one. If we make a new one again, go layer, new, solid, great. And then I'm going to draw a circle on top of this one, like so. You can use this circle as a path, and you can actually link your visualizer to this one as well. So this is a mask. If you go up to Effect and you go Generate, you can go Audio Waveform on this one here. So Audio Waveform will put this on. We can make the path the circle that we had. And you can change the colors of this one as well. So it's not linked to audio at the moment, but you can see I've got a purple line around it. So if you link it to the main track that we had, and let's make it something that's not hot pink, let's make it white and maybe some gray so that it's a bit more fitting for the scene. But if we play this one now, I've put it on the wrong track. This one. Should be linked to my audio track. It is reacting. So we've got the waveform on there. You can see it's starting to rumble a little bit, but that is that's made a very basic audio reactive waveform for you. You can once again increase the intensity of that one to be more aggressive if you would like to as well. But you can draw any path, and I think that is the coolest thing, is that you can draw any path. So if you wanted to do something to actually follow borders of things, or like to shoot lasers coming out of lights or anything like that as well, you can draw your path using your pen tool and use that as the path that you want to create the waveform. Under your waveform options as well, you've got the digital version, which is, you know, those little dots, if that's more your vibe. Or you can do the analog dots as well, which is the smaller version of that. So you've got all of these different parts of it that you can include within it as well. So we've made a visualizer, we've linked everything, everything's moving, the figures are starting to appear, and we've done it all in about 15 minutes here. Were there any questions in the chat?
Yeah, Jade, one's just come through about Adobe After Effects and AI, and whether or not there's anything.
I'm not sure, but I will be fully transparent that the version that I am using, would have it blocked anyway, because I'm using the department's version for After Effects. But I have never used it. I haven't felt the need because you can generate so many different things when you're going into the simulations and that I haven't had the need to use any AI within it. But it might be something worth looking into.
Yeah, there is one. So we've got Roto Brush that sits in there, which extracts objects with AI. So I will pop, there's a little bit of a screenshot there, and I'll just give you the page so you can have a look further. And I might see if there's other information I can get for you.
Awesome. That would be great. I do rotoscoping manually. I'm old school like that, but it's cool to know that we can do it with AI now as well. Yeah. Were there any further questions?
No, but a lot of great comments and engagement on the chat. My mouth has been open the whole time. I'm so impressed.
It's so easy, but so effective and so much fun. And obviously we're making like a horror soundscape kind of thing here. But you can take this and do anything with it. It can be fun. It can be including those rotoscoped elements and your video and everything. It literally, you can link your own photographs to it. You can link film to it, your own illustrations. Yeah. So it's just so much fun. And it's once you know the basic methods and techniques, there's so much that you can do with it. The one thing that I will show really quickly though is just how to export this one, guys, in case you don't know. So once it is completely finished and you're happy with it, you can go up to File and go to Export, and you can go either add to render queue if it's a pretty small one like this, or add it to your media encoder queue. If you add it to your render queue, H.264 will give you your MP4 with the best possible resolution, and you can rename where you want to save it to there, and then hit render, and it will start to export that one for you. So yeah. Did the source files get sent by any chance?
Yep, so I think I've put the link to the source files, which is a Google Drive. Yeah, looks like everyone has found them. And I did put a little note in there to say it'd be great to play with those particular resources that Jade has provided if you're going to come back and watch the recording. So save them now, because I'm not sure if we'll be able to sort of share that link when we do all of our presenter notes, so just in case.
Yeah. Yeah, I also, just on that note, I know that we are looking at questions and everything, but if anyone does have any further questions at any point in time, please email me. I love doing what I do. Animation is what I teach. In full disclosure, I do have a Bachelor of New Media Arts, so I'm a qualified illustrator and visual artist, and qualified in media design and graphic design and photography as well. But I teach animation from grade 10 to 12. We are the only school in Australia teaching it as an explicit specialization program. And I'm the only teacher of that. So if you have any questions, please ask me. I do present at the ATOM, the ATOM Australian Teachers and Media conferences as well every year. So you can come and find me there if you want anything as well. I can see one question. I've got my double monitor up now. I do have a few on Adobe Education Exchange, but the versions are not the current versions of software. So I do need to update that. But I haven't made any really, because I teach hands-on in class most of the time. I like to do the hands-on demonstrations, but if anyone would like any tutorials on anything, I'm more than happy to do that as well.
That's so lovely, Jade, and so lovely to be sharing your details and contact details with everybody. I'm sure you'll probably get inundated as well with people wanting to learn more and more. And Jade, I think from the response from the audience today, it'd be great to maybe get you in to do one of our weekly webinars where we can give you a little bit more time as well to dive into it all. One of the comments in the chat was around the students. They must love your classes, which I think that really they would get so excited to come to your classes, and the proof is in what they have produced. Their creations are absolutely impressive, and they must feel so proud when they create those types of like resources, or the videos and everything like that. So well done to you.
It tends to hook them, even the ones that you think or they think they're not going to like it. As soon as they see kind of how easy it is, I feel like they really, you can grab them. You can, yeah. We had a few that were like, oh, I don't know about this. And then they stayed in the subject and really, really ended up enjoying it. And they're going to university to do it, which is super fun. So, yeah. So please, if you make anything with it, I'd love to see it as well. I love seeing all of that kind of stuff as well. But yeah, awesome.
Well, any other questions for Jade? I know we've sort of got like a couple more minutes. If anyone did have anything further or just wanted to be able to, ask quick ones now that Jade can quickly show if you wanted her to go back over something that you sort of just missed. We just do have a couple more minutes. But failing that, there is the recordings that will be made available to anyone.
Yeah.
You can come on mic as well if you don't want to pop it in the chat. Bit of a quiet bunch, Jade. They're all just, I bet they're all sitting there in After Effects just playing right now. I bet they've been inspired.
Yeah, that's okay. There is, I was just going to say, some of those videos that were in my PowerPoint, they played through automatically, but there was one part that I did want to show if I can. I will share back that screen again. So in this one here, it didn't get to it in the actual recording when I was showing it. But there is a sun that has that mapping with the mask that comes up, and the fairy lights you will see as the day changes through the animation. It's using, obviously, this is the full Adobe workflow to create this one. It started in Adobe Animate to do all of the rigging of the character and everything. But the background changes and the sun changes on a tween in Animate, and then everything else has been mapped to make it look like the day is changing as well.
Oh, that's super cool. I'm so impressed. That's awesome. Jade, so one more question has popped in. If we've got a couple of minutes now around set, can you just show again how to set the anchor point on the light?
Oh, yes.
Again, I just missed that bit.
Yeah, so on the layer for the pendant light, when you've dragged it in, if you just double click on it, it'll open the actual layer itself up. And it's just your little anchor point circle. I've just dragged it to the very top of the light. Usually when you change it for the first time, it will mess with the actual position in your main composition. So then you can just go and readjust and place it where it needs to be.
Cool. I've just popped a link as well in there. If this is your final workshop for the day, there's a feedback form that we would love to hear your feedback. It's the only way that we know how to make our events better and better. So please fill that out, or you can fill it out after your final workshop as well. But if there's no more questions for Jade while she's here, anyone, your last chance? All right, well, we might wrap that up then, Jade. We're so happy to have you as one of our ACE leaders. You're certainly doing amazing work in this space, and I feel like I want to show more and more of our educators what you're doing, because it is very impressive, particularly the student work and being able to really celebrate that work there.
Yeah, I'm happy to do more.
Brilliant. Well, everybody, the next workshop sessions, they do start at 3 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So if you need to go and have another coffee or just have a little break, you can do that. If you haven't yet registered for a workshop for this afternoon, you can just pop in on that link I've just shared and register for the final session of the day. And we're not coming back together as a conference close. So if you're leaving now, thank you everybody, and thanks again, Jade. We've loved having you.
Thank you so much, everyone.